China is a very big problem for consumers all around the world. And the main problem is that they produce goods and services at such a low cost. And they sell it at such a low price to consumers all around the world. And this is a big problem. And this is a big problem that is usually cited by policymakers because they say that China is sending us so many cheap goods. Now, if you follow that logic, then you also have to think that just put yourself in the shoes of the consumer. You probably are. I mean, the major issue that you face today is that the Chinese products are so cheap, right? I mean, you prefer to pay higher prices. You don't want to you don't want to pay low prices to buy a good from China. You want to pay high prices. That is what you want. So it's such a big issue for you as a consumer that you're having all these cheap goods coming from China. I mean, wouldn't you prefer to pay double the price, triple the price for these goods? But you don't have that option. You have to pay a low price. This is the kind of logic that a lot of policymakers would want us to believe. And most people do. Most people say that China is a problem because they're sending us so many cheap goods. But why is that? I mean, do you really see this logic that it's such a big issue that you're buying so many cheap goods from China? Is that really what you feel as a consumer? You may already believe that because you've been told that line so many times. But just think about it. What is the alternative? Would you prefer if China sold you goods at a much higher price? Would that be better for you as a consumer? Of course not. You prefer to pay lower prices. It's the same thing when you go to a shop. So if you go to a business and let's say you buy a coffee, and let's say the coffee is normally $10, and you go one day to this coffee shop and it's $15. It's 50% higher. Would you be happy about that? Would you say, oh, thank God this coffee shop is selling me the coffee at $15. I didn't want to pay such a low price for coffee. $10 is too low. I wanted to pay $15. So I'm so happy that they're paying $15. No, you wouldn't say that. You will say that this coffee shop is taking advantage of us because they just increased the price by 50% in a day. Now, somehow, we don't apply the same logic to China. If China increased their prices, I mean, wouldn't it be the same as this coffee shop increasing their prices by 50%? Of course it would be. It's actually much better if you go to a coffee shop to buy a coffee and instead of $10, it's $8. Now you're going to be like, oh, this is so nice that this coffee shop decided to reduce prices. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm just going to come here more often. Maybe I'm not going to go to other coffee shops. I'm going to come here because they're selling it at lower price. They just brought down their price. And maybe next day they're going to bring it down even more. I mean, how come the same logic doesn't apply to China? And besides, no one has ever forced you to buy anything from China. All the consumers in all these countries that their leaders are complaining about China, all these consumers, they just buy those products because they want to, because it's the best option for them. I'm not saying it's the best quality, but it is the best option. So what's the problem here? Why not have all these low-cost products coming in from China? And no one, again, if somebody was forcing you to buy these products, then it would be a problem. If not, it means it's the best option that you got. So why is it? So why is it that in many countries, all these cheap products from China are considered a problem? Well, the answer is obvious. It's because there are local businesses, major corporations, not small, coffee shop. It's usually major automobile industries and other big manufacturing companies. They are the one who complain about this Chinese invasion, they call it, right? Oh my God, they're invading us with cheap products. So they complain about it. And why? Because they have to compete with products from China. And again, when we say low cost, cheap products from China, we're not talking about low quality. We're just talking about low cost. It might be low quality, but if you buy anything from China, if you buy a Chinese product, it means it's the best option for you. It doesn't mean it's the best quality for you, but it means it's the best option for you, right? Maybe if you buy a car, a Nissan car, that may not be the highest quality product for you, but it is the best option, right? You're under no illusion that a Toyota or Nissan is better than a BMW in terms of quality. You don't think that when you buy a Nissan. You think that this is the best option for me. Okay, same thing with a Chinese product. If you buy a Chinese product, yes, it might be low quality, but it's the best option for you, right? If it's not, you're not gonna buy it. Okay, you're always gonna buy whatever is the best option for you. Okay, so that's very different. When we say low cost, we're not talking about low quality necessarily. We're just talking about, yes, low cost, but the best option for you. So anyways, these local businesses, they are not happy with all these low cost products because they don't want to compete with a product from China. The less competition for companies, the better it is, right? Now, in free market, you usually have more competition, not only from local companies, but also international companies. But if you don't have a very free market, then you're going to have less competition because of course there's no free market and there's no free trade and you don't have to compete with Chinese products, and this is what local businesses want. So a lot of times, for various reasons, the local policymakers, they align themselves with the interests of the local businesses. And again, not a small business. If you're a small business, you don't have that kind of sway. But if you're a big business, then you can influence policy, and that would be to your benefit. And then that line is usually echoed so many times by so many media outlets and so many intellectuals saying that, oh yeah, this is really bad for us that we're having so many low cost products. But again, if you're running a business, it makes total sense for you to think that Chinese products is a problem. But if you don't own a major business, if you're just a consumer, then you have to ask yourself, do I benefit by having more options or not? Whether it's from China or other countries. The more options you have, probably the better it is for you, because you have a lower cost, you have lower quality, you have higher quality, you have higher cost. You want all the options, so at whatever income bracket you're in, you can find the best option for you. And a lot of times when you have this competition from other businesses, it will actually elevate the quality of local businesses too, because now they have to compete with all these international products. So at the end of the day, one of the major complaints of many around the world about China is that they're sending us very cheap products. So at the end, you have to ask yourself, first of all, is it better that they're sending you cheaper products, or is it better if they sent you more expensive products? Number one. And number two, is anyone as a consumer forcing you to buy it or not? So that's the second question you have to ask yourself. And are you better off having those options? Third, is it better to have a cheaper option even if you don't buy it? It might be fine if the option is available to you, even if you don't want to buy a cheaper product. So that's third. Fourth, if you're not happy about it, just don't buy it. Just support local businesses. I personally do that. I personally support local businesses as much as I can, as much as feasible, but I still would like to have the options, right? Even if you never buy Chinese products in your life, for whatever reason you have, whether you perceive it as lower quality or you don't want to support Chinese products or whatever, you still probably want the option to be around. Maybe one day you will need it, or maybe your fellow citizen who's much poorer than you needs it. And fifth, it would actually help local businesses too, because now they have to compete. So they have to bring prices down, they have to increase the quality, and they would actually be better off. Because if local businesses also, because of this competition, lower their prices and increase their quality, they may end up making more profit. Because it's better product, right? It's cheaper and higher quality. So, but none of these would apply if you're a major business owner. If you own a very big car company, then no, then you don't want the Chinese competition. Then none of the logic in this video would apply to you if you're one of those. But congratulations if you are.